Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. I used to work at a tutoring center, and technically, we weren't supposed to eat at our desks, and we weren't supposed to allow the students to eat at the desks too. Now, picture this: on a given day at the center, there might have been three, four, five instructors, and each instructor might have had three, four students. And I would never enforce not eating at the desk. I'll get to that in a second. But I do enforce something else, though. So I I didn't like the rule because I struggle with binge eating disorder. Now, I'll let you pause the video to think about this. Most people would assume that, hey, if you're recovering from binge eating, wouldn't going somewhere that doesn't allow you to eat for 6, 7, 8 hours during the day, wouldn't that be a great way to recover? It's not. I'll let you pause the video to think the caveat of why not. The problem is that having entire section, you got to remember those 6, 7, 8 hours don't happen when you want them to, right? So, for example, yeah, I regularly go double that amount of time without eating, but it's at my choosing, right? If I have blocks of time where I can't eat, it pigeonholes things, right? Imagine it's 10 a.m. and I'm just about to head to the tutoring center, and I'm not hungry, but I gotta think about the next 6 hours where I won't be able to eat. That creates an edge case, right? That if I were allowed to eat at the center, oh, it'd be no big deal. I'll eat when I'm hungry, right? And see here, I wish we need to have every time we talk about workplace conditions. I think one condition we need to add is that it should be your right to eat whenever and wherever you want, as long as it doesn't create a safety hazard for anybody, yourself or anybody else, right? If you're working with toxic chemicals, if eating would be a distraction, if you're a truck driver, yeah, I can understand rules about not eating there, but certainly not at a tutoring center, at a community college, even at a if you're working retail, even behind the counter, as long as you keep safe, right? So, for example, I also have allergies, but I would never enforce the students not eat, even if it's something I'm allergic to. What they need to learn is how to keep their food to their area, right? So, a lot of times, even those really severe allergies, peanut allergies, I think a lot of it wouldn't be a problem if people kept their food neat, right? I'm staying here in Taiwan. Here in Taiwan, there a lot of people have food allergies too. Skin problems are not uncommon, but I noticed that it's a lot easier to keep things at bay because even in a busy hostel like the one I'm staying at, people are mindful to keep their food to their area. Now, I always instill to the students that I don't care if you eat in here, but you got to remember what you think is delicious food. It's somebody's poison, right? And to keep it in your own area. And I also tell the students, even if you're eating something that nobody in the world would be allergic to, get in the habit of keeping your food in your area. I don't care what it is, right? It'll, at the very least, you'll make a lot less mess. You'll feel a whole lot better. And I always get upset if the students mess up, even if it's not something I'm allergic to, even if it's not something that anybody could be allergic to, even if they make a mess drinking pure distilled water, I would still speak up because I want them to get in a good habit of treating food with respect, right? And my boss would always get very upset when he would overhear me talking about the kids getting their food all over the place. And my boss would always ask me, why do you even allow the students to eat in here? And it just goes to show we have a very toxic attitude toward food. I always speak up when we have things like this. I'm very against places that won't allow you to bring outside food. I think it creates a pigeonhole for anybody trying to lead a healthy lifestyle. Like for example, ever since I started my vacation I guarantee I actually have more time to eat now, but I actually eat way less because I can always eat it later, right? The ability to say that I'll reassess in 10 minutes and if I still want it, I can eat it. That's a very important ace in my pocket to have. It really is. A lot of people don't realize that. When I'm working in a place that doesn't allow me to freely eat whenever I want, it makes it that much harder for me to keep a healthy lifestyle. The other thing I've noticed here in Taiwan is that people are less likely to comment about your choice of food, right? When you say no to a food item, that's the end of the discussion, right? I really think that should be the social norm. It's kind of like other things that you might say no to, like drinking or drugs, right? Most people have the good sense not to push it further if you walk away from that stuff, right? Most good people, at least, right? More so than food, right? I can't imagine any of my colleagues pushing alcohol. And although, granted, that the alcohol culture is a little bit overbearing at times, I gotta say that it is hard to fit in. Even though you can say no, it's still hard to fit in. But it's light years ahead of how food culture is, right? And I haven't had to chase that around very much here in Taiwan. But I really think it should be a workplace right to eat whenever, and in general, in public, to eat whenever and wherever you want, as long as it's not creating a hazardous situation. I really think that should be like a human right, and that's why I hate enforcing students not eat in the classroom. My boss thinks it's more intrusive to tell students how they can eat than to just not allow it in the first place. I think that's wrong. That really goes to show how risk averse we are, right? See, if I tell students the way they can eat and they mess up, and let's suppose that one of our students really does have a peanut allergy, and the students have a hard time following my instructions. They mess up, right? And it really causes one of their classmates to go to the hospital. Our tutoring center is probably much more liable than if we had told them not to eat in the first place, right? It really goes to show our policies are more driven by risk rather than by what's right and what's wrong, right? This is the Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum.